Boom. What's up, you guys? It's Royce Jacob, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about the cryptocurrency that has been our #1 seed over at Waves Capital for well over a year now. And as we progress through 2023, it seems like it's becoming the #1 pick of many others as well, which you absolutely love to see, considering I believe we're getting real close to the next phase of the overall bull market cycle. That crypto, as you already know, is Render token, and it's the best. So, as always, let's quickly go over each of the tabs that I want to discuss with you guys, and then we'll dive into each one individually. To kick things off, as I do with every other Render video I make, I want to very quickly go over what Render is, just for those of you who may be new or maybe curious about Render and you haven't watched any of my previous videos, just do a little catch up. Okay, so kick it off with that, keep it real simple. I then want to move on to Render's recent Medium post. This was just released a day ago. I'm recording this on June 3rd, and they just reached 100K followers on Twitter. Obviously, this isn't directly correlated to the price of Render or directly correlated to the network capacity itself, but this is a good sign because, as we all know, I assume most of you know, especially if you've been involved in these hype cycles or these crypto cycles before, and as we've discussed many times, eyeballs do matter, and that's the reality of it. And ultimately, the more eyeballs you get, the more attention that a great project can get, and the more viable it becomes as a project, which creates that flywheel for price action as well. Okay, so we'll read over this, not just discussing that, but in this article, they actually go over a nice little timeline of some of the progress that Render's made over the years, and that will kind of just set us up for the next phase, which is talking about Render's market cap currently, and will segue us into me giving my long-term price target on Render. I've given it in a few of my Render videos before, but I want to reiterate my price target for Render as we enter this new phase of the overall bull market. And of course, at the end of the video, we'll talk some short-term price action as well. Again, I'm recording this at the beginning of June. I will give a nice little 1 month out time horizon, but we will also zoom out on the charts if you happen to be watching this at a later date. And I'll talk to you about, maybe where we could go over the course or over the remainder of 2023. If things start to get exciting again, which I definitely think they will. Okay, so that's the video, you guys. Before we get to Render, I got to plug Old Reliable, my pride and joy, and that is the daily newsletter and my complete portfolio. So I know this is a crypto video, but the day-to-day grind is options trading. These crypto positions for me are set and forget it. Still like making videos on them because, I'm really excited, and I know a lot of you guys are as well, obviously, if you're watching this video. But if you're interested in what I'm trading on a day-to-day basis, in my options portfolio, in my equity portfolio, and of course, what my crypto portfolio looks like as well, if I ever do update it, that is going to be the first link in the description box. Complete portfolio, daily newsletter product. You do get everything that this little box right here entails for the price of $15 a month, $40 for every 3 months, completely up to you. Or you can even try it free for 7 days. And I added that option because I'm so confident in the product. So if you haven't tried it, give it a shot. This right here is just a quick example of what the daily newsletter is like. Again, I write these every single day. So go check them out. That was just from this past week, or the 4-day Memorial Day week we just had. So again, if you guys want to join Waves Capital for real, that's the first link in the description. If you do, it means a lot, and I appreciate it. But if not, hey, it's your loss. All right, so Render, distributed GPU rendering on the blockchain. The Render network is the leading provider of decentralized GPU-based rendering solutions, revolutionizing the digital creation process. Okay, so once again, I know the majority of you who are watching this already have a pretty decent idea of what Render is, but hey, again, if you're new around here, I highly suggest that you do go check out render.com, or rendertoken.com, I should say right there, obviously, and do some more digging. Okay, their founder, Jules Urbach, is an extremely competent individual in the space. He's the founder of Otoi, and Render is kind of his next project. Otoi has become an extremely successful company over time, closely related to Render. And again, this guy really knows what he's doing. So as I always say, not just for cryptos, but any investment you ever make, always bet on the driver along with the car, always bet on the jockey along with the horse. Okay, again, their CEO, very competent guy, which I love. And again, over the course of 2023, as AI has taken over, not just the cultural zeitgeist, but the technological zeitgeist as well. And, it's really evolving at an exponential pace. That technology at that scale is going to need more and more rendering capacity. And, that's really why render has been excelling over the course of 2023. Again, the AI hype is real. We all know if you've been following along with the channel. We've been talking a lot about AI stocks and whatnot, and fortunately finding some success there. But as far as crypto goes, this couldn't have segued better, or this couldn't have been a better fit for what we're seeing now. And again, that is, at this moment in time, my primary bull case for render is the fact that it can be so beneficial or so heavily benefit from this AI revolution that we are currently experiencing. Okay, so that's render. Again, go catch up more, or go do a little more digging if you aren't familiar. But let's move on to this Medium article. Render Network hits 100K. The Render Network hit a milestone this week, passing 100,000 followers on Twitter. It's been a little over 5 years since the launch of the Render Network Twitter account. We wanted to take a look at some of the key moments from that journey to 100K and shine a spotlight on the community that built the network over the years. So, quickly go over this. 2018 beta interest survey for the network is released, generating more interest than the combined public centralized GPU cloud for rendering, providing a basis for the network to develop a platform for next generation 3D rendering and immersive computing. In 2020, the Render Network Genesis mainnet hit the metaverse in the summer of 2020, marking the year the beta version of the network was widely open to the public. The Genesis mainnet phase saw strides in UI, UX, and feature design that has echoed down the years. In 2021, Beeple makes history live at the Render Network during the iconic sale of his first 5,000 days at Christie's in 2021. For those of you who remember that, again, that was the NFT. Absolutely a bubble, was probably the craziest I've ever seen. Way gnarlier than 2017, just crypto in 2017, and it was nuts. But celebrating live on a closing party Twitter Spaces with the Render Network community, along with some of the most influential 3D artists. This moment would serve as one of the landmark moments in the growth of the blockchain digital art, paving the way for mass popularization of good old NFTs. Render Network is selected as a part of the Information's top 50 most promising startups in 2022 for its application as a leading platform for decentralized computing and the production of next-generation virtual assets, showcasing its role in the deployment of critical infrastructure for the metaverse. Render Network ecosystem expands with the Render Network Foundation in 2023, a centralized governing body that has taken the reins of operating the Render Network and overseen recent changes. More than any accolades, the response from the Render Network community and creators has been the shining star in the Render Network's crown over the last few years. And again, this is where it wraps back to not just the number of followers. Again, the number matters, the number of eyeballs that is directly correlated to the number of exposure a product ultimately gets. And for those of you who don't remember this, the first time I heard about Render was in the All In podcast a long time ago. I remember Chamath Palihapitiya mentioning it. And, if those are the eyeballs that are interested in Render, if those are the investors in Render, then I'm glad we caught it, which we did. We caught Render super early. And it's important to remember that it's still extremely early, which is where I want to segue into talking about my longer term target for Render. Okay? Render is currently sitting at a market cap of just under $1 billion. And it's made its way to number 46, which is absolutely insane. Because we started following it when it was in the high hundreds as far as rankings concerned. And when it was at a market cap of, a few $100 million, couple $100 million, which for a project that has so much potential like this is really pennies. But sub 1 billion, this is still an absolute steal in my eyes. For Render, my price target for this cycle is going to be $10 billion for the next phase of this bull market cycle. And it's important to remember also that the macroeconomic backdrop is different with high interest rates, which will, in my opinion, inevitably, and I feel like this has to be factually correct, but again, even saying this as an optimist, I don't think this cycle is going to be quite as exciting as cycles in the past, just simply due to the macroeconomic backdrop with high interest rates and with, a shaky, just kind of global, the shaky state of global finance in general. Okay, so I don't think it's going to be exciting. Regardless, I do still think it's going to be pretty freaking exciting. And I do think the return potential is there. So also do want to mention, Render is ranked 16th in overall volume on out of 10,335 cryptocurrencies. That's insane. Okay, that's absolutely insane. And again, that volume, the same reason volume is good is the same reason it's good that Render is hitting 100,000 Twitter followers. It's the same reason that the more eyeballs come in, the better. And the volume is really a testament to the fact that there are, in fact, more eyeballs coming into Render, and there is more attention being drawn to this cryptocurrency, which, again, is ultimately a net positive once the hype and the momentum really start to flood in, okay? Once the waves really start coming. All right. Anyway, Render, I will say that my price target is not necessarily a share price itself. It is the market cap. So I do think that the Render project can reach a market cap of about $10 billion over the course of the next cycle. If you do the math, that comes out, given the current supply and just the price, the share price right now, we're at $1 billion, it's at 267. That would lead to like, a $30+ Render token. I personally think we can get maybe up to $40 even, but a $10 billion market cap is going to be my price target for the next cycle. Again, it's not necessarily a token price, but my initial target where I will begin taking meaningful projects personally is going to be $10 billion. All right, so that's longer term. That's, the Bitcoin halving's coming in less than a year now. May 2024 is when the next Bitcoin halving is. That is always directly correlated. Usually the next real bull market cycle comes a few months, half a year after the halving happens. So, maybe we still have a little time, but I think we're closer than not in terms of coming from the last phase. And you can see that here, 1 year. This is looking bullish, and we're about to dive into the charts and get a little more technical. But 1 year, just looking at it on this kind of basic zoomed out chart right here on CoinMarketcap, it's hard not to be bullish on that. And before we dive into technicals, move my fat head. I never put a whole lot of weight on the TradingView bull bear meter, but right now it's signaling a strong buy, and that's always the cherry on top for me if I'm already feeling bullish. So you love to see that. Render token is currently in a very beautiful ascending channel, a series of higher highs and higher lows. I did start this trend back in March of 2023. As you can see, it's been conservative, but we are in the process of getting that second wave. I would consider this the first wave at the beginning of the year when capital finally started to flood back into the markets, and a lot of the pain from 2021 and 2022 started to fade away. Healings take time, wounds take time to heal, and I think that I think the scars are here. I think we are entering the next phase of this bull market. And this just, again, looking zoomed out, this looks like the beginning of a second wave in my eyes. Okay. And again, we coined the two-wave pattern. So again, I don't want to get too confident or too ahead of myself or make it seem like I'm extremely sure of this, because I'm not. But again, you guys, just playing these two-wave cycles, playing these hype cycles, this looks pretty damn promising in my eyes. Okay. So where do I think we're going by the end of July? I will say that I think the worst case scenario, which is just, again, I'm an optimistic guy, this thing could go way back down here, okay? It's unlikely, but it's possible. So again, this is my worst case scenario in my mind, but things could be much worse, okay? I'm just calling it my worst case scenario. Worst case scenario by July 1st is for Render to slowly but surely climb up 30%, to test, and sorry, you guys can't see it, but this is July 1st, as you can see on the bottom, or like June 30th, July 1st, is to climb 30% by July 1st, okay? And that would be to test the line of resistance on this ascending channel, okay? Clear line of support here, holding that line of support. Maybe we come down to test the line of support. That's entirely possible, so keep that in mind. But I'm bullish on the environment overall. I'm bullish on Bitcoin. I'm bullish on risk assets. And I think the Render, at the very least, will make its way up to test 350 by July. Because again, if we do just see a nice, slow, gradual climb up here over the coming month, that'll take us to just about 350 on July 1st. All right. So let's zoom out. And as always, you guys, I highly recommend you guys just go into your charts for yourselves, draw these trend lines, and just keep an eye on it for yourself. All right. So again, the level we're at now, Render has not seen since April of 2022. So, we're reaching new annual highs, definitely new 2023 highs, which I do think another one's coming, because I do think maybe even by the time a lot of you guys watch this, we could have come up to test resistance. But new highs have been set in. Again, you guys, the next phase of this bull market is looking promising. Let's zoom out here. And again, you guys, Render's all-time high was $8.77. All right, just under $9. I think it's very likely that during this next cycle, we close in on $30. Again, maybe even 40. But once again, the $10 billion market cap is what's really what I'm keeping an eye out for. So keep that in mind. And I really don't have much else to say here, aside from the fact that if the crypto markets do pick up, if this bull market really does escalate through the summer, through the winter of 2023, I think Render is, and as always, you guys, my money's where my mouth is. I'm not aware of every single project in the entire crypto market, but as far as the top 100 coins are concerned, I think Render will provide the greatest amount of returns over the next phase of the bull market cycle. And hey, I'm ready for it. So I appreciate you guys watching. Once again, if you do want to join Waves Capital for real, that's the first link in the description box. And as always, I'll talk to you in the comments as well. Celebrate some Render. All right. I appreciate you watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Until then, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.